But I believe that by overwhelming majority, you and I, in the long run, and if it be necessary, you and I will act together to protect, to defend, by every means at our command.
Walls, fences, borders, gates, barbed wires breeding hate. This patchwork world is fraying at the seams. Where we divide is where we bleed. Walls, fences, borders, gates. Walls, fences, borders, gates. How easily we alienate. You stay on your side, I'll stay on mine. Let's pretend everything's just fine. Behind our walls, fences, borders, gates.
Great Wall of Chi, which is in China. Now this is a slight cheat because obviously there's a Great Wall of China, but this is a far more older part of it. So I thought I'd just cover this for you guys. So the Great Wall of Chi is the oldest existing Great Wall in China. Construction of the wall started in 441 BC by the state of Qi. It's interesting, isn't it? And the wall was constructed to defend itself against attacks from the states of Yin and Yu. And you're just seeing a few images on the screen now. This is, it's partially still there, or most of it's still there, and it's been incorporated into the Great Wall of China. I didn't know about the separate dynasties. I just thought it was interesting, and you can see a map here on the screen now, or coming up, and the wall stretches from Guangli village, and that's in Changqing district, Jinan, running across the mountain ridges of central Shandong province to the Yellow River. So it's quite long, and it's just an interesting part of the Great Wall of China being broken down to different dynasties. And its total length has been estimated at about 600 kilometers, which is about 370 miles, and most of the wall is still able to be seen today. So I just thought that was intriguing to include. So as you have guessed, this video is just all about walls, hopefully some that you might not know of, but just looking at it a little bit different. Obviously we all knew the Great Wall of China wasn't built all in one go, but you just forget about the different dynasties and different places, and because not a lot of it is talked about. So in this video I'm just going to include a few walls that you may not have heard of. Here's hoping. So the next is Serpent Wall, or otherwise known as the Dragon Wall, and it's in the Ukraine. So it's an interesting one, this, obviously with what's going on in the press, and I say that loosely, the media. So south of Kiev are defensive walls called Zimiev Valley, which means the snake, the serpent, or dragon walls, as I've just been alluding to. Now there's not much there because obviously you can just see the mostly just mounds. So the Serpent Wall is an ancient system of fortifications that basically stretched across the Ukraine from the town of Zimiev in the east to Podolia. So, and that was in the west. So it's an intriguing, it stretches for a fair distance, but as you can see in the pictures they're mainly just mounds, but it's still interesting to me because of the intriguing walls. So the ancient rampart, known by the name of Wall Zimiao, is of considerable length. The remaining ancient wall have a total length of 1,000 kilometers, which is about 620 miles, so it's still a fair distance long, and you can't get away from it, guys. And it's just intriguing that we've never heard of it. Well, I've never heard of it, so, but that's not new, because I stick in my own little bubble sometimes. So the ancient walls were built between the 2nd century BC and the 7th century AD. No one really knows because you can't trust carbon dating. Now, there are 3 theories as to what peoples built the wall. So you got the Sarmatians against the Scythians, or the Goths, or Kuum against the Huns, or the early East Slavs against the nomads of the southern steppes. So there's a third guess at actually who built it, but it was an undertaking, unbelievable. You saw the length, and coming up is basically an artist's interpretation of the Serpent Wall, how it was built. So it was something to, feast your eyes on for sure. I mean, I'll put a little image on there of a cross section of what they believed it looked like. So you're talking a significant wall, and why have we never heard of it? And this is what this video is about, talking about some walls that you might not have heard of. And here, I can't trust it for 100% because I found it online, but this is where the map showing basically the possible path of the wall that it takes. So it's a fair distance across the Ukraine, and you've never heard of it. A lot of people in Ukraine might have heard of it, or in that region, but I've never heard of it. The Serpent Wall, the Dragon Wall. So here's a few more images for you guys, and just hopefully you like the construction of it. It reminds me a little bit of the Antonine Wall in Scotland. And the next one is, and I did not know this, another one I don't know a lot really, is the Long Wall. Now that is in Athens. How many of you have heard of that? Kudos to anyone who actually has heard of it. So Athens was one of those most powerful cities in ancient Greece, but it was plagued by one major military weakness. It was situated some 4 miles from the sea, so it made it really vulnerable. So a great spark, or a good spark, came up with an idea. So in around 461 BC, the Athenians sought to correct this vulnerability by constructing a series of barriers to connect the city centre to the vital harbours of Perissus and Phalerum. Pardon the pronunciations, but I'm not Greek. So you now can see a few maps just showing you the wall. It's rather intriguing and clever thinking. So the twin walls jutted out from Athens' southeast corner and ran parallel until they ran into those towns and harbour towns that I could not pronounce. And then you just get a few more maps just to show you the difference of them. And there's one of them, it's quite interesting. This one, it actually shows you more. It reminds you of a guitar, doesn't it? That's what I get, guitar vibes. Crazy, but beautiful. So later, Athens was forced to surrender after its navy was defeated at sea. The victorious Spartans are then said to have dismantled the hated long walls. The barriers were later rebuilt, however they stood until 86 BC when they were destroyed by the Roman general Sulla. So obviously some of them still survive. You can see some in the ancient cemetery, and then obviously near the coastal towns. So I just thought that was rather interesting, something that I've never heard of. Great Wall of Peru. Oh, come on guys, did you ever heard of the Great Wall of Peru? Now you know Peru is full of a lot of things. It's famous for the Nazca Lines, Machu Picchu and the Rainbow Mountains, amongst many other things. I need enough room for that bit. So here's the Rainbow Mountains, which is an intriguing anomaly that a lot of people have picked up on over the years. But it's intriguing. This is the first photo of Peru's Great Wall, and it was by a guy called George Johnson and a guy called Robert Shippey. Now they find the wall in the 1930s. I just found it fascinating, guys, as you can see, because I never heard it. How many documentaries and programs have we watched on Peru, the mummies, Machu Picchu, like we said, and the other ancient sites, and no one ever mentions the Great Wall of Peru? Why not? Is it a mandala? Because people like to use that, don't they, these days when we don't know enough of history. It's just one tale, isn't it? Here's another image of the Great Wall of Peru. Crazy times and crazy town. It's roughly about 90 miles long. Now, what's intriguing is that no one knows who really built it. And here's some aerial footage from the 1930s, and here it's on the map, just showing you its rough location. Now, some scholars believe, could it have been built by the people who built a place called Kulap Fortress? And this is the images that you're seeing on the screen. So, could it be them? But I just found it fascinating. And again, we hear about a lot of things, but do you ever hear about of the Great Wall of Peru? I don't. So that's my yardstick for any of these guys. If I've not heard of it, I'm putting it in. The Nabataean Wall, Jordan. Come on, guys. Have you ever heard of that? Or are you like me? You just love HiS-Story. So Petra, originally known to its inhabitants as Rakmu or Rakimo, another name that we're not familiar with, and most know Petra for being used in the Indiana Jones movie The Last Crusade. And here's one of the famous scenes out of the building. But because of the iconic Alcazar, the treasury building, people forget it's a huge complex full of loads of other types of buildings. And here on the screen is a few. This is what's known as the temple. You have the pool and the gardens, bit similar story to the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, and other complex buildings around the area. So it's not just the one building, but they also built a wall that I'm referring to because it's a video about walls, but there's not much left of it and hardly any evidence for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you a few pictures even, and then I'm going to show you what's left on Google Earth for you guys. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. Right, here we go. I thought I would show you on Google Earth what's left of the Nabataean Wall. To the locals, it is known as Kiat Shabaib Wall. That is KHATTSHEBIB. So if you want to Google search it yourself, Google Earth it yourself, you can do, and you will find it there. So as you can see, it's red arrowed it in the middle, the wall there. So it does go north in a northerly direction. Originally I thought this could be it, but you can actually see it faintly there, going up and disappearing and restarting here. So we'll follow it north before I go to the south, because the southerly direction is a bit longer. So you can see the wall does travel a few little circle buildings going to the north. I'll zoom out, and you can see it travels a fair distance. They don't know who built it, they don't know its purpose. It doesn't seem wide enough for a defensive wall. So what was its purpose? Like anything in HiS-Story, will we ever know? And that's the intriguing thing about looking at these. Again, a lot of people look at Petra and don't know about this wall. I've known about this for a very long time. I put this in an old video on walls that I did, and I wanted to make this one slightly a little bit different. I was going to re-edit it and use some of the old ones, but I thought, you know what, I found a few others. Let's go with a bit of new and put the odd one in. And I like putting this one in because, like, again, not many people know about the Nabataeans built this, if they did build this wall, but it's on their patch, and you can see it roughly finishes in this northerly direction. Could that be it? I just don't know. But it's intriguing nonetheless. So if we zoom out and we'll catch it back going south, what we do is on the southerly direction, there is some lovely buildings attached. As you can see, it goes all the way down south on the southerly direction. They have labelled this as Kiat Shabaib Tower 1. So was this defensive? Again, I'll throw it out there. How wide does a wall have to be defensive? To me, it doesn't feel very defensive, but we just don't know what if it was defending against, or was it just part of the trade route? Was it just marking borders? Who knows? So it goes southwest, and you see if it travels a fair distance, it does fork at this ridge, and as you can see, it does split off here, and it really doesn't pick up anywhere else on this. On the ridge, possibly, I just, it wasn't as clear as that, so I didn't want to, say, guys, this was this. So it did split off at one time, but it's been destroyed and moved. Have they used this stone from some other buildings? We just do not know. We don't know its age. We don't know really its height. They say it's roughly about 90 miles long. What was the purpose of a 90-mile wall? And as you see, it carries on for quite a few miles. Gets to this, and this is where we get the structure attached that included in the images. Where is it? I did find it. Here we go. So you can just see from above, wow, what a little complex that is. And the wall would have gone, as you can see, through it. Which, as I said, was this just like customs trade at the border? Tolls? Who knows what this is? But it's intriguing, and you can see for a number of buildings on this location. It goes a little bit further through some roads, and it gets to a modern town. About the road, and it's just disappeared, so we don't know its true length. Did it actually stop there, or did it carry on? So I just thought I'd include that little bit on the Nabataean wall, or Kiat Shabib wall. The Maginot line, France. This is an intriguing one to me, and you'll see why. It's just intriguing, it's interesting. Now, some might not technically call this a wall, but I do. And the Maginot line is something to see. Now you're going to see it all in the next couple of images. Here's a map. Now the Maginot line was named after the French Minister of War, André Maginot. And as you can see, it had weak fortifications, and it had strong fortifications, as you can see from the map that I've showed you. So an impressive wall. Now the Maginot line was an array of defences that France built along its border with Germany in the 1930s, and was designed to prevent an invasion. The irony of that is not lost on me, because it didn't take long, did it, to get invaded. But it was built at a cost that possibly exceeded $9 billion in today's dollars. The 280-mile long line included dozens of fortresses, underground bunkers, minefields, and gun batteries. As you can see, some of them are still standing today. Well, a lot of them are. So why did it fail? Well, it was built to withstand World War I, not the more advanced weaponry of World War II. That was one reason that they'd give. And the French also assumed that the Ardennes was impenetrable. But the simple fact was the Germans basically went around the whole line. That there was, the strong fortifications. So it was just crazy. All that money spent, where did it go? And here's some images that I found of inside some of the, the tunnels and the batteries. Like little mini cities, as you can see. I've provided a few images. You can search for loads online yourself. Breathtaking, isn't it, what they got up to? And it's just basically like underground dams that we have today. Here's some images of inside, basically, that you can go and look at. There's loads that obviously you can't look at, that people, where they go underground themselves with cameras and filming it, and it's derelict. There's some cool ones online of that, especially on YouTube. So just type in the Maginot line, and there's some of the fortifications, batteries that are still standing today. It's an intriguing line, or as I'm using it, as a wall. It was used to protect, but it was just built before the advancement of German weaponry and tactics. So it basically became useless, but it's still fascinating that it's still there today. Next up is Danevirke. I believe it's known as the Great Viking Wall, but Danevirke means earth mound or wall. So yep, this is one I never heard of also. Intriguing that when you don't hear a lot of this stuff. So the Danevirke is a system of large defensive earthworks and walls, basically, that stretches across the neck of the Cimbrian Peninsula, and it's in Schleswig-Holstein, and it's in Germany. and I'll show you some images and the maps in a minute, but you can see there's not much to left of it, and there has been multiple versions of it, which again I'll get into in this little clip also. Now the defensive run lasts for about 30 kilometers, which is about 19 miles, starting at the Viking trading settlement of Hedeby near Schleswig on the Baltic Sea in the east, to the marshes around Hollingsted on the river Trane or Trinay, with height varying between 3.6 meters and 6 meters, which is about 12 and 20 feet. They varied in shape. It's an interesting mound. It reminds me a bit of the Serpent mound as well, and how that was constructed. As you can see there in brown, the Danevirke or Dane work. Just intriguing. And I'll show you on the map. Yeah, as you can quite see, they're in red. Hopefully that's the right one, because Danevirke just means mound, but I'm assuming it's that because it's in roughly the right location. And again, there you can see it faint in orange going across. So it blew me away, this one, because again, when you don't hear of these walls, it gets you thinking, why have you not heard about these walls? Just again, things more, more things lost to HiS-Story, and that's what I wanted to do in this video. So the Danevirke has been modified over its history, like I was saying to you before. The first Danevirke, about circa 700, you can see it just had one basically wall to a mound, a ditch. It then moved to a bit more structure behind it, for more soldiers to stand on. Again, went to the third one where it doubled up. Two heads are better than one, they say. And again, now the coming to the more modern one in the 11th century, it started to get bricks and a roof to it, where it finished in the 12th century with brick. Obviously, with the invention of gunpowder, it faded away, and basically the Prussians destroyed the Danevirke. But as I was saying, a long line of ruins still remain, and this is just a representation of what's been built to show you how it would have looked. So it's intriguing. Hopefully you enjoyed that one.
Yeah, they call me the black sheep. They call me the black sheep.
Hello and welcome to Walk the Flock TV, the home of What the Flock. That's why you're here. So guys, thank you again for the support, watching the videos, bearing with me while I'm slowing my production down. I'll still bang out videos when I can, but thank you for the support, thank you for sharing, thank you for doing the links for people, and thank you for people who decided to buy me a coffee, which the link is in the description. It's just so appreciated. And again, I'm having things pop up on screen as I'm doing. Get off. Like, you don't want to press anything in case it recording stops. And I've started, so we'll stop. So what you watched today, so thank you again for anyone who does buy me coffee. It's truly appreciated, especially in these times of need. It really does help. So thank you for them, and just thank you for people watching as well. I'm not playing that down. Support is welcomed. I want to try and build the channel up and get more and more subs, because we're being YouTubed, and I can only do that with you guys recommending the channel. So all your help is needed and welcomed. So what you're watching is about walls. Now I've done a few videos on walls, just put my things to one side, and I've always been fascinated with them. Whether it's a boy thing, building with Lego and different kins and mechanos and that when you're a child. I've just been fascinated with the purpose, because it is not just to mark boundaries. So when I did an original video a few years ago, I included some walls that people might not have known of, and people enjoyed it. It's just basically giving a brief thing about the stats, and in my thoughts today, I'm not going to go over the stats. I'm just briefly talking about walls in general. What's its purpose? Because it's very intriguing. Again, why are these walls being built? Some of these walls that I've even included are not really much of a defensive type of wall. So then there's symbology about it. Opulence. This is how much money we've got. This is marking the boundaries between you, them, and then then the nots, the have-nots, and a lot of these places can do with that. But it just makes you think, because when people are talking about ancient civilizations and advanced civilizations and how we were one world order, you just have to look at all these old walls to know that is not the case, or in most of the period in this existence it's not the case. Because why so many walls? If we're all one love and under one rule and one great superpower, there's no need for walls. So history, HiS-Story walls show you that, and there's so many that we just didn't know of. I didn't know some of these in this. Like I said, I've included one or two out in my old video, and if you want to go and look at that, I originally was going to remake that, because when we're able to make videos a little bit better, I thought, I'm going to just remake that. And I thought, I'm going to add more walls that I just didn't know into it, and that's what happened. So this is what you've got, guys. Just to give you a brief taster, because I want to just give you like a little, I've never heard of that one before, Paul. I'll go and research it. Leave it for you guys to do the research, and then you find even more goodies that I didn't include. That's what these videos are about. Just a stepping stone, to show you, there's this wall, there's this wall. I mean, walls I didn't include this time that were in the original one were the Wall of California, which is an intriguing one. You had the Gorgon Wall, or the Red Snake. That's another one. Obviously, I didn't really want to include the Great Wall of China in the first one, and I only did it in this one because when you think about it, people just think the Great Wall of China it was built over so many dynasties. So that's why I've included the first one, because the cheat or key, because you just really don't think of these things there, and people believe a certain advanced race built this, and you can just see from it it's not an advanced type of wall. But again, it's still intriguing. So, but then you have to go into, because I was talking about this on Raised by Giants channel the other day about walls. What specifically is the purpose? Again, you can see a wall that is defensive in its nature. Obviously, they go it goes out of basically, point having a wall when gunpowder came in, and obviously more advanced rifling. And I mean, rifling is, the barrel. When you rifle the barrel, it becomes more and more accurate. So when that came in, and then obviously gunpowder, some of the walls become defunct, basically. But what intrigues me is when we're talking about star forts, and I've showed you this in videos for years ago. It just intrigues me why, there's only being mentioned in this. It shows you that in ancient times, Janos, who I researched quite a bit, taught humans how to build walls around cities. Isn't that star forts? Isn't this type of thing that we're talking about today? And you go, wow, wow. Why didn't you say it, Bottle? I did years ago. You know what I mean? So it's just intriguing, and that's why I'll just look at every aspect. And again, in this wall, some of the walls that were designed don't look defensive in nature. Meaning deep, thick, its width. It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop much, really, is it? So then you have to think of why was it built, and that was like the adage I was talking about the other day. You build a wall in a field, and people are like, "Who's built that wall? What's the purpose of this wall?" And it's not what was the wall built of, or what it's hiding, what's it built over. You know what I mean? You can hide things in plain sight by just building. It's like, for instance, build a house in a strange location, or a building in a strange location. It's like, why have they built that house? What's around it? And it's like, you don't think of the actual materials built out of it, because, ancients used blood in cement, and they've used bones in cement, and obviously a lot of bones in ossuaries and crypts under ancient cities for the energy and what other purposes they used. So it's just a fascinating thing. And that's why I just wanted to make. I know it took a couple of weeks, but still, when the time and effort that you have to put in to find these old walls, it's just fascinating. I mean, some of the ones that I've included in this I never heard of, especially the dragon or the serpent wall in the Ukraine. and obviously the Danevirke, never heard of that. So a lot of these types of mound type of walls, but like the Antwerpian Wall in Scotland that I never heard of till a few years ago. You know, because we've all seen films. Oh, the last place, the edge of the known world is Hadrian's Wall. You then got Antwerpian Wall, and then you've got another wall now that I showed in that video, the Ends of the World. So we talk about his story always being a lie. Is it a lie, or is it just information kept? What were the purpose of these walls that don't look like they're fit to be walls? Is it just a boundary? Is it just showing you how rich you are? Is it money laundering? Is it hiding bodies within walls? You know what I mean? Because it's intriguing, isn't it? Because some of the walls, like I included last time, talk about giants, where they used to, you know, protect ancient giants, and then how big would a giant have to be for it not to get over some of these walls? So it's fascinating and intriguing, and I just wanted to put a little video together showing you some walls that you might not have heard of, you know, while I'm doing all the research for like a deep dive, because you don't want sometimes a deep dive video all the time. For me, I like changing it around, and this is what I thought today. You know what, I'm going to make a little wall video, because I have a fascination with building with Legos and different things as a child. I'm gonna see if I can find more walls, and I believe I've done that, because there's loads. Like I said, my old video had the Great Wall of Texas in. I talked about that years ago. So there's a lot out there, you know what I mean, it's intriguing, and we're here and I'm theorising on advanced races, advanced cultures. Then why did we need these walls? Have we always built walls? Is it just something built us to protect what is ours, or protect them, you know, the have-nots from the haves, you know, the opulent side? Because it's just fascinating. That's why I included the Nabataean Wall, because people talk about what Petra is and not realise that they built a wall. Even was it the Nabataeans that built the wall? So this is the intriguing thing. Who built these walls? Are these, you know, are these bricks that they built these walls are from, you know, excess taken away from certain buildings? You know, take all that stone from this, like, you know, farmers used to do over here in the day, take down old structures and ancient structures and use the stone to build walls and build towns. There's a town near Hadrian's Wall that was built out of Hadrian's Wall. Do you know what I mean? So it's always been done. You know, good quality stone, especially if it's been worked and shaped, it's hard to come by. So you know, it gets taken, and that's the purpose. That's what just fascinates me. What's the thinking behind it? You know, that I didn't know about that wall. It's its length. You know what I mean? It's, you don't think, again, were people intentionally hidden the bones in it? Were they just the people that worked on it? Is that a way to get rid of a lot of population? Because like I was saying, when you look at the figures of how many people died, there's only so many mass pits with the bodies you can throw in to hide. Where's all the bodies? You're talking hundreds, billions of people dying from X amount. I've showed you in videos, the depopulation video. Where are the bones gone? What are the bones being used for? You know, that's the thing that intrigues me, and walls are a part of it. Why build a wall in the middle of nowhere just for it to be a boundary wall? You know what I mean? It's like, if you're not building it so high, you can just hop over it. You know what I mean? What's its purpose? That's the thing that intrigues me. And then we look at all techniques of using blood and different things, and ossuaries and crypts hidden under, you know, is this all a part of that? It just blows me away. And again, I just wanted to do a quick video, even though it's been weeks. My bad. I'm good. I'm just taking my time with videos now, guys, and researching. I've got a good one coming up soon that hopefully will be good. Just to, you know, it's so, I'm excited. So I want to go, guys. It's just a quick little thoughts. There's not really much I can talk about the walls. I didn't want to go over the lengths and wall. You know, there's loads of walls out there, so I might just every now and again do a wall video on extra walls up there. There was intriguing things that intrigued me. I don't know if I've still got it on my phone. I'll see if I can find it. You know, that's because, you know, you do it while you're on the spin, don't you? There's what fascinated me is the New Zealand wall, and that is the Kayamara wall. Now, what's intriguing me about this is they say it's like the Great Wall of Texas. They say it's not man-made. What we always taught, guys, when we are growing up, nature can't do straight lines. And then when we see things like this, we're told, oh, nature can only do straight lines when it's using certain things. So it's like, make your mind up. Make your mind up. I'm just trying to find a picture just to show you guys, you know, winging it as I do. I was going to include it in, but I thought, you know what, I might be taking it. So this is part of the wall, so I can show you the screen. I mean, that they're saying that's natural. Do you know what I mean? And then you've got obviously people that believe in different things and what, you know, these places are. It just fascinates me. It just really, really, really fascinates me. So, I just want to get the image off. See, these things, that's supposed to be natural. I thought natural cannot be in a straight line. Oh, it can be in certain circumstances in nature, using a synthesis or whatever model it is, and with certain chemicals and practices. It's like, okay, we'll make your mind up. That's what we find everywhere. Are these walls, some of these walls, natural? And then you've got obviously people who believe in advanced races, advanced techs, meltology and all things like this. Again, doesn't bother me anyone referring to these topics. I'm open to anyone and anyone's belief. Why would we all want to think the same? It's boring. That's what it is with these videos. Some people will say this, some people will say that, and that's the beauty of it. Don't want to think the same. We get stagnant and boring, and this is what these videos are about, just to show you, look, have you heard of that wall? And some of you will have heard of all of them. Kudos to those people, but you know, when I don't know something, I'll put my hand up. I don't know it. Only from research and looking into different things do you find different aspects of this realm. What else has been hidden or unseen to us? Because that's what it is. You have to think of when things are unseen. And you know, when we're looking at these buildings and things, and people are talking about, oh, you know, mud floods, Saturn and all this, it's like, but also, what was the building? What was the purpose? You know what I mean? We have to take everything into account. Again, everyone has built walls from ancient times. Really, when would you say it stopped? End of medieval time, 16th, 17th century. You know, because they were building a lot of castles, but gunpowder just made it all worthless, basically, didn't it? And rifling and modern weaponry, like the Maginot Line. A huge undertaking that was, and that's breathtaking. Again, for anyone who wants to look out, just type Maginot Line in and you'll find people going into ones that's not open to the public. You know, the urban ones that go looking, you know, with little flashlights. And again, some of them are cool videos to watch, and you can look inside them. And I didn't want to include them, obviously, because, you know, certain people don't want you to put their content mixing in on other types of channels. So just go out there, type in Maginot Line in, you'll find them. Again, build all that for it to be wasted. Why build and use up to 9 billion? And then basically the Germans went around it. It's a kick in the teeth, and obviously the tech advance from Germany did go through the roof from the First World War. Again, how many people get taught about that? I'm into history, and I only found about that, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago. And then you're like, wow, something so big. Why is it not really talked about in school as much? You know what I mean? These are fascinating topics. again, what's the purpose behind the stone walls? That's why I put the Petra one in the Nabataean. A lot of people don't even know that the people who so-called built Petra, the complex, they don't even know about the complex, but they were called the Nabataeans. I've seen it all the time. The Petra and blah, blah. The Nabataeans didn't know about the Nabataean wall. What was his thingy name? I did write it down on the other side, but it's a local name. I didn't know about that until I researched about walls years ago, and it's huge, not wide, but it's very long. So what was the purpose of it in the middle of the so-called desert? Again, these are giving more questions, and that's what I was saying the other day on when I was on Ryder's channel on Raised by Giants. Please check it out. We had a really good chat the other night. I did put the link in the description, but it's, again, I just love going into topics and finding more questions, because if you get one answer, that's why I don't settle. If you've noticed, when you're looking into a topic, I don't settle. I'll contradict myself because I want to find more answers. That's why I do not accept what people say. And you know what I mean? And we shouldn't get triggered, but people do. I get triggered, but I don't call people. That's the difference. I ask myself, why am I getting triggered? Why is it bringing an emotional response in me? Damn you! So you know what I mean? That's the intriguing thing, and walls do. You know what I mean? All these mysterious walls just seem to have come from nowhere. Because you got the Indian wall, haven't you? Again, that was in the old one. That I didn't put in. That's what I'm planning doing. I'll change the music and I'll put better pictures and I'll re-edit it. And then I'm put the odd one in. I'm thinking, you know what, guys? I'm just gonna go and find some more. I'm freshening up that way, and that's what I've done. So hopefully you've enjoyed it, guys, and we'll be back to more deep dives and things soon. Like I said, I let the topic come and choose me. I've saw a topic that's caught my eye that people are talking about in the community, and I want to just elaborate on that. I want to show, is it or isn't it? You know what I mean? So guys, please like, share and subscribe if you've liked it. Please just tell people to come and check our channel out and show you the difference. You know what I mean? Because there is a lot of wide range of different topics on here, and I just need your support, guys, because we're nothing without you guys. So thank you for watching. Like, share and subscribe, and if you want to donate, please buy me coffee. The link's in the description. And for all those people who don't like me saying stay safe, stay safe. I've said it for 20-30 years. My mum said to me, and my mum's not wrong on much. So please, guys, always wear a smile and don't let the bar stools grind us down. Bye, guys. Bye.